So it's December, and December is that time of year where I start making videos that are sort of wrapping things up a bit. I talk about my favorites this and my least favorites of that. This video that you're now watching is all of my unread books on my shelf for 2016. I do this every year for myself so that future Erica can watch this and see all her unread books on her shelf currently, and to remind her to not buy any more books for 2 months, or you have to at least read 5 of your books before you buy another book. Erica, I'm talking to you. Do not buy books. Read your books, don't buy them. You can receive books as gifts. You can even get books from publishers, which you will soon, but you cannot buy books. I will find you and I will hurt you if you buy a book, because you are myself. I'm talking to myself. This is weird. I'm so sorry, you guys. I just got finished watching my previous video that I made last year for this, and I have read all of those books on my bookshelf besides 2. One of those books I'm reading this month for sure. So I will be ending this year with just not reading one book that was on my shelf last year, which makes me feel really accomplished. It's this goal, it's this game that I like to play with myself. Granted, this year I have so many books, it's not even funny. They don't even fit on my TBR shelf. Over 100, I'm sure. Will I read all of these books next year in time for this video? Probably not. So without further ado, these are all of my unread books on my shelf for 2016. Get ready, get some tea, maybe some popcorn, chocolate, food, sandwich, slice of pizza, whatever you prefer, and let's get started. The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Charlie Bone and the Time Twister by Jenny Nimmo. Who knows? City of Thieves by David Benioff. I don't know. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in that The Final Empire or something or another. Luna New Moon by Ian McDonald. Space. Shit goes down in space. So excited. And then we have books 4 through 12 of the Jack Sparrow series. You want to see them all? I'm going to show you. The Sword of Cortez, The Age of Bronze, Silver, City of Gold, The Timekeeper, Dance of the Hours, Sins of the Father, Poseidon's Peak, and Bold New Horizons. I am going to read those Jack Sparrow books soon. I will, because new movie soon. I've got to indulge myself in everything. It's just what I need to do. Charlie Bone and the Invisible Boy by Jenny Nimmo. Who knows? This is the 3rd book. Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell. I still haven't read Animal Farm or 1984. I know. Yell at me in the comments below. I'll do it. I will. Fluke by Christopher Moore. I have no idea what this is about, but I love Christopher Moore. He always makes me laugh, so anything Christopher Moore has that I can purchase, I will purchase. Under the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. I've only read And Then There Were None. The Edge of the Sea by Rachel Carson, a nonfiction book about the sea. Really excited for this one because I like the sea. Middlemen by Jim Gavin. This is a short story collection. I don't know anything besides that, so but I'll read it. On Stranger Tides by Tim Powers, which is the book that inspired Pirates of the Caribbean. On Stranger Tides. I think we all know that. If you didn't know that, now you know that. The Perfect Storm, a true story of man against the sea by Sebastian Junger. This is the nonfiction book that inspired the film The Perfect Storm. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Or maybe don't. It'll break your heart and you'll cry a lot. I do every time I watch it, but I'm just sensitive, you know? The Wave by Susan Casey, a nonfiction book about waves. A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. I started reading this for Nonfiction November near the end of November, and then I got distracted with something else and put it down, but I will pick it back up again. I will. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I started reading this for a buddy read, and then I'm a terrible person, and I kind of failed with that buddy read and didn't. I set it down. Fiends of the Eastern Front by David Bishop. I started reading this in October because vampires. Sorry, Jess. I picked it up and then I didn't have time to get through all the books on my TBR, and then so that happened. But I will read it. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey something that I can't pronounce. What Lurks Beneath by Ryan Lockwood. This is a series sort of like Meg, which is why I love it so much. Just replace the shark with octopus and you get this. It's great. Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. I was going to read this forever ago. Didn't do that. Soon. The Library of Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I don't know anything about this, but I have heard nothing but good things. To Catch a Vampire by Jennifer Harlow. You know, sometimes I just need paranormal in my life, and that's what this is. Cress by Marissa Meyer. I feel as if I've been reading this series for years now. I have. Someday in the far, far future, I will finish these books, but until then, Cress. I think it's the third one. Barsk, The Elephant's Graveyard by Lawrence M. Shun. The Pirate Captain, Chronicles of a Legend by Carrie Lynn. This is one of those books on my shelf that's just constantly calling my name. Erika, read me. I will read you. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Edgar Allan Poe, Great Tales and Poems. Secondhand Souls by Christopher Moore. This is the sequel to A Dirty Job. One of my favorite comedy-ish books. So excited yet so nervous that it will not live up to the first book, but we will see. Pirates by Celia Reese. I've read this already, but I want to reread it, which is why it is here. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is one of those books that I bought specifically because of BookTube, because everyone and their mother was talking about this book, so I need to read this and see what it's all about. Sea Change, Alone Across the Atlantic in a Wooden Boat by Peter Nichols. A memoir of being stranded out at sea. Slouching Toward Nirvana by Charles Bukowski. English Passengers by Matthew Neal. This is another book that's just calling out my name. Pirate Queen, The Life of Grace O'Malley by Judith Cook. So excited for this. Friday Night Lights, Billy Budd and Other Stories by Herman Melville. Kronos Rising by Max Hawthorne. This looks absolutely ridiculous, and I am so excited. Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage to the Antarctic by Alfred Lansing. The Sea Wolf by Jack London. Do you see those illustrations? Gorgeous. The Complete Poems of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Sphere by Michael Crichton. I actually started watching this movie by accident the other day. I was watching it on Netflix, and then I thought to myself, this seems really familiar. Have I read this book? I know I haven't seen this movie. And then it clicked and I said, no, I have to stop watching this movie because I haven't read the book yet. Galapagos by Kurt Vonnegut. Congo by Michael Crichton. Close to Shore, The Terrifying Shark Attacks of 1916 by Michael Capuzzo. I don't know. Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The Shadow Line by Joseph Conrad. Bluebeard by Kurt Vonnegut. Rant by Chuck Palahniuk. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. The Sea Around Us by Rachel Carson. A Little Book of Short Stories by John Steinbeck. Cup of Gold by John Steinbeck. Small Steps by Louis Satcher. The Stranger by Albert Camus. The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. Holy Cow by David Duchovny. I love David Duchovny. I love The X-Files. I love Fox Mulder. He's really pretty. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. Seven Dead Pirates by Linda Bailey. American Pastoral by Philip Roth. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. The Plague by Albert Camus. Earthly Powers by Anthony Burgess. Peter Fruchen's Book of the Seven Seas. Special Topics in Calamity Physics by Marissa Pessel, who wrote Night Film. I love Night Film so much. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Watership Down by Richard Adams. Death Takes a Holiday by Jennifer Harlow. This would have been the perfect book to read this month with the Christmas tree. Sudden Sea, The Great Hurricane of 1938 by R.A. Scotty. The Complete Poems of Emily Dickinson, edited by Thomas H. Johnson. Stephen King's 11/22/63. Rachel just told me how much she loved this book, so I think I'm going to be getting to this very soon. Three short novels by Joseph Conrad. Heart of Darkness, Youth and Typhoon. Text by S.E. Hinton. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Sailing Alone Around the World by Joshua Slocum. I can't pronounce anything. Shadow Divers, the true story of two Americans who risked everything to solve one of the last mysteries of World War II by Robert Curson. Long title. Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Now is the Hour by Tom Spanbauer. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. By the Open Sea by August Strindberg. We'll go with that. White Oleander by Janet Fitch. The Watch That Ends the Night by Hugh McLennan. Hiroshima by John Hersey. Pirates and Piracy by E. Keble Chatterton. Maybe? Operation Cure Boredom by Dan Martin. 2 Years Before the Mast by Richard Henry Dana Jr. Krakatoa by Simon Winchester. Rocket Boys by Homer H. Hickam Jr. The End of Nature by Bill McKibben. The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. In Evil Hour by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Civil War Land in Bad Decline by George Saunders. Invasion of the Body Snatchers by Jack Finney. Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. Captains Courageous by Rudyard Kipling. And lastly, The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories by Tim Burton. So many books! Just kidding. I realized that I had my TBR for the month on my bedside table thingy. The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. Reading this right now. So many things are happening. If any of my favorite characters die, there will be hell to pay. I will be very angry and sad and whatever. Crime and Punishment by I'm not even gonna try. The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. And The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. That's my TBR for December, by the way, so I don't even know if there's a point in me doing a December TBR now. You know the 4 books that I want to read. Do you think I'm going to read all of these books by this time next year? Probably not, but where there's a will, there's a way. We'll see what happens. In the comments below, I would love for you guys to tell me what books here that you think I should read first. What are books that you've read? Maybe yell at me in the comments for buying so many books. You could do that. That's fine. Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in another video soon. Okay, goodbye.